This tutorial is going to talk about how to create this dispersion effect that is shown on this image here. The first thing you need to do is open up Photoshop and find the image you would like to work with. Once you have that image found, what you need to do is create 3 copies of your background image. So to do that, I'm just going to right-click on my background copy and hit Duplicate Layer. And I'm going to do that twice so that I have a total of 3 layers. Once you have your 3 layers, you're going to be selecting your second layer here. And using this lasso tool, select around the outside of your figure. And then you're going to go up to Edit at the top here and hit Fill. And then hit OK. And the reason that you're doing this is so that if you hide your top layer, you can see that the second layer you just selected is deleting the figure and it's filling it with the background. So it fills it with the sky, the clouds, and the tree down at the bottom here. So then you can go ahead and deselect what you had selected as your figure. So hit Command D. And then we're going to be working with the first layer next. So click on your first layer. And using your quick selection tool over here, you're going to select around the outside of your figure. And then at the top, you can click Refine Edge so that you can kind of play around with what's selected until you're happy with the selection of the figure so that it has all of the details. It's selected around most of the hair. And you can start to paint some of it back in to allow the selection to automatically choose that. Once you're happy and all of the details you want included are selected, go ahead and hit OK. And then you're going to be copying and pasting this figure so that she doesn't have a background with her. So I'm just going to hit Command C for copy and Command V for paste. If you wanted, you could also go up to the top and hit Edit Copy and then Edit Paste. Once you have your layer pasted, you can hide your other layers in the background here so that you know you just have your figure pasted. And then you need to make a second copy of your figure. So again, I'm right-clicking on my layer. I'll go up to the top where it says Duplicate Layer and then hit OK. So you'll have a total of 2 copies of just the figure with no background. I'm going to be working with my second layer first. And I'm just going to move her over to the left a little bit. And once she becomes visible on the left, go ahead up to the filter at the top and select down towards the middle where it says Liquify. Once you have Liquify selected, begin to stretch your figure out towards the left. And the reason you're doing this is because there's some of the pixels on the left of the image that starts to disperse out a little bit. So you want to make sure that you have this background of the figure that you can start to work with. So once you have a good amount stretched out to the left, go ahead and hit OK. And then it's going to pop up on your image over here. You're going to want to hide what you have with this figure you just created. So add a layer mask on top of that. And once you have your layer mask created, make sure on the left side you have this black color swatch selected. And using your paint bucket tool, you're going to just click with the black and it's going to make that layer disappear with your layer mask. Then you're going to select your first layer. And using your first layer, you're going to create a layer mask. And then we're going to be working with the different paintbrush tools. So over on the left in your tool panel here, find where your paintbrush is. And then go ahead down to where your different paintbrush selections are. There's a couple of different textures you can use. If you don't find any textures that you're happy with over here, you can go to this little settings tool here and click on it. And there's a good list of some different brushes you can work with. I'm going to start with this paintbrush first here because I like the texture that it adds and creates. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to just start erasing away some of my figure here. I'm going to start spreading out where I'm putting my paintbrush and where I'm deleting. And I'm being careful to leave some of the face and more of the details on the right of my image. And then I'm going to start to get rid of more and overlap the paintbrush more and more on the left side of my image here. You can switch up the paintbrush tools that you're using as well so that you have different textures throughout. Something else you can do is click on this little folder right here next to your paintbrush tool, and it brings up some more of these different settings, and you can actually rotate your brush so that it moves around a little bit so that you're changing up the direction that you're creating this texture so that your entire picture doesn't have the same effect. Once you have a good amount erased, you can go ahead and select your second layer over here and make sure you have your mask selected. And you're going to go ahead and start painting some of it back in on the left side. So make sure that you switch your color to white so you can start creating this texture on the left side of your image. You're just going to keep adding the paintbrush tool onto the left side until you have a good amount starting to show up. Again, you can choose from different paintbrush tools to add more of a different texture. I would start to fade it out a little bit more on the left, spread out the texture a little bit more, and put some of them closer together towards the middle where your figure is. Once you're happy with the effect that you created, you can go ahead back into your layers tool and start to bring this background copy to the front, and then you have your dispersion effect that you can start to see a little bit better. If you wanted to add more details to it, you can go back in with your paintbrush and play around and add just some different texture on top of it.